This is going to be a video on how to reclaim a screen with an image and ink on the screen. So in this case, the ink has been removed. That's done in a separate location, not in the washout booth. Ink is removed over on the ink cleanup table, so we've gone through that step already. We're ready to remove the emulsion and any residual ink that may be left on the screen. You're going to start with just a rinse of water, both sides. Then you're going to follow steps 1 through 4 on the poster next to the washout sink. So step 1 is removing all ink. That's done again on the ink removal table, where you're using the cardstock squares to scrape the ink off and using the green way to clean up 99% of the ink off of the screen. Ink should never go in the sink, it should never go down the drain, it should be disposed of outside of the sink. So no ink, no squeegees, no ink knives, only clean, relatively clean screens go in the sink. So step 2, where we're kind of starting out here, is remove emulsion. You're going to do that with emulsion remover. Find the bottle that's labeled emulsion remover. You're going to spray 6 to 7 sprays of emulsion remover on both sides of the screen. Then you're going to look at your watch and you're going to set the timer on your watch for at least 60 seconds. Alright, we're back, and as you can see, the emulsion on the screen, the design is faded away and it's kind of dripping down. That means the emulsion remover is doing its work. It's breaking down that emulsion. You can see that's broken down. This is the point where you're going to use the power washer. It's the only point in the process where you use the power washer. Before you start this process, make sure you have your goggles on, safety glasses on, so that you don't get any chemical or emulsion spraying back at you in your eyes. The emulsion should spray out very easily like this. If it is not spraying out easily, you need to add more time or maybe a little more emulsion remover. You want to be sure to focus on areas where you have stubborn emulsion. This down here. Oh, you're looking at this side. This down here where you have some emulsion stuck in the screen still. You want to focus on those areas and make sure you get all the emulsion out of the screen. Thought I wasn't wearing my safety goggles. If you have any emulsion in these channels, you want to be sure you kind of focus in on those areas too, to remove any emulsion that you can that's hardened in those channels. Your screen at this point should look fairly clean. You may notice that if you hold it at an angle, you can see where the design was before. That's called a ghost image, and we have a process for removing that. That is your next step, step 3 in the process. Looking at the poster, you have step 3 is dehaze. Dehaze, you're going to spray the dehaze on the screen. Haze remover, dehaze, haze remover. Spray that on the screen. Scrub with a red scrubber. Remember, a red scrubber is for any process that has ink on it, grimy, yucky ink. Red scrubber. You're going to want to scrub both sides with this. Let soak for 10 to 15 seconds. Rinse your scrubber. Check to be sure there's no ghost image or haze on that screen. You won't be able to see where the previous ink was from the last person who printed. You will then rinse with water. Be sure when you're rinsing, you get these channels where the screen locks are. Spray those out really well because you don't want chemicals that are kind of sticking in that channel to run down the screen and contaminate your screen with your next chemical. Final step, step 4, degrease. Degreasing prepares the screen for emulsion. Degreasing is also covered in another video in the preparing the screen for emulsion. I'll do it quickly here. With screen degreaser, you're going to spray it on. Just one side is fine. Use the white scrubber that you use for degrease only. Rinse your scrubber. Return it to the top of the sink, not in the sink. Make sure it goes up on top of the sink so it doesn't pick up all the crud and grime in the bottom of the sink. And again, rinse with water. Your setting on the hose should say garden. See it? Garden. Nice gentle spray water. I've again sprayed that screen out, making sure I'm spraying from top to bottom. That rinses the chemical out from the top to bottom. Make sure you focus on these channels where the screen locks are. Let the screen drip dry briefly. You're going to place it on the screen rack towards the bottom where there's a fan that can air dry it. If there are too many screens here, you may take one of the screens out that's already dry and move it up on the rack a bit so there's room for your screen down at the bottom where the fan can get to it to dry it.